Hullabaloo and howdy do, everybody.
Hullabaloo and howdy do.
I am Jenny from the block, and today we are looking at 100% Match, an extreme horror novella by Patrick C. Harrison III. Well, this actually might be a short story. 100% Match is only 86 pages long and about half the size of a standard paperback in terms of height and width, so 86 pages worth of text probably amounts to a short story, I think. The cover describes it as a pocket nasty, and this do look like a book that could fit in my pocket. And that's good, because I feel like reading extreme horror in public is a risky business. Anyway, I found this one for cheap online and decided it was worth it to give it a go, especially since, in my exploration of extreme horror, I rarely venture out past Aaron Beauregard. So, to recap, right off the bat, we meet Bart. He is now 30 and has become obsessed with finding his true love and persistently tosses romance-related statistics regarding what women do and do not find attractive in men out throughout the course of the book. Now, Bart admittedly does have some things working against him. He's balding and overweight, which doesn't fit typical societal norms surrounding male beauty standards. And also, he's a fast food worker, which some women might not see as an especially venerable occupation. Then there's the fact that he poisoned his mother to death and puts cats out of his yard every night and has a kid tied up in his basement. You know, loads of things that might impair his ability to find a mate, right? So yeah, Bart's a complete and utter psychopath. He taints the food at his restaurant with unspeakable things, most of which I shall not repeat here because I would like my dinner to stay where it is. I mentioned him shot-putting the cats. Well, one, he does not shot-put, and I'm afraid poor Pussycat ends up in the restaurant burger meat the next day. That kid in the basement gets murdered, I think, on night 1 of the book and gets cut up on night 2. We're treated to Bart's previous attempts at romance. A previous woman, Deborah, mysteriously decided to fill her perfume bottle with hydrofluoric acid and spray herself with it and died. Conveniently not very long after Bart revealed a previous visit he'd paid to a nursing home to do something terrible. Another woman, Wendy, died in a house fire with her children after lying to Bart about having kids at all. How terribly tragic. Mr. Bart has been mighty unlucky in love, you could say. Except during the story, he finds a chance at love after returning the wallet of a random woman, who in turn tracks him down at work and asks him if he'd like to go out on a date with her. If I recall correctly, Bart celebrates by smearing himself with his own excrement and spanking the monkey. I just can't escape the bodily fluids in this subgenre, can I? I just can't escape it. I can read about all sorts of things and basically be okay, but any description of that which is voided from the mouth and that which is voided from the ass, and my gag reflex just starts partying. Anyway, so Bart's real excited. His first date with the lady, Sarah, goes well, and then he goes over to her house to watch a movie, and also murders a cop on the way because he got pulled over and doesn't have a license, but, you know, he gets there eventually. Sarah offers him a drink, and woo, look at that! Bart's getting real sleepy. Yeah, she gave him a little night-night pill. When Bart wakes up, he's strapped to a table, naked, and Sarah's in some BDSM gear and filming everything. Did I mention that she happened to inquire as to whether or not he had any family or friends in the area, anyone that would really miss him? Yeah. Sarah torments Bart on live stream, and one of those methods involved is that which is voided from the mouth. And I know it sounds like I'm censoring that word for YouTube, but I promise you, I'm censoring it for me and me alone. So yeah, turns out this is a snuff film. Can I say that on YouTube? I genuinely have no idea. And as Sarah kills him, Bart realizes that he has, in fact, met his perfect match. So, that was fascinating. And I mean that sincerely, because I'm surprised to say that with the exception of a few stomach-churning moments, I actually found this story to be pretty good. And funny, to boot. Genuinely funny. The author sincerely had a great sense of comedic timing and delivery. Some examples on page 22 in regards to what he told Deborah on their date. Quote, "So, things are going fine. Then Deborah asked me to tell her one secret about myself, something no one else knew. This should have sent up alarm bells, but so pleased with the evening was I that I considered the question happily and answered honestly. I told her about the time I visited a random person at the nursing home, taking with me a bag containing a bearded dragon, a cucumber, and a mallet. Deborah was not impressed by my escapades at the nursing home. The night ended poorly." Unquote. Then there was another on page 48 describing Bart's prepping the night before his date with Sarah. Quote, "I decide on a pair of dark Levi's and a black button-up shirt that is the proper length to be left untucked. I iron these items while listening to the remainder of the podcast and then hang them up on the back of my bedroom door. Then I polish a pair of black leather shoes that I haven't worn in some time. They're square-toed and fashionable, but not too snobbish. After this, I place a black belt and black socks atop my dresser. All of this could have easily been completed tomorrow morning, but I prefer not to be stressed about time. After a long shower, I pee into a coffee mug and put it into the microwave for 82 seconds and put a Sleepy Time tea bag into it. I drink this while watching a documentary about the prevalence of necrophilia in the concentration camps of World War II. Before going to bed, I send an email to my senator telling him he'll be assassinated in 13 days. I have trouble getting to sleep, so I stick my finger in my butt and count to 50. Unquote. You see a style here, yeah? You have a totally normal lead-up, everything perfectly banal, and then you get slapped in the face with sheer absurdity. Bart is comically evil. He is so petty and so indiscriminate. It's not enough to be a kidnapper, you gotta poison the food at work with bodily waste. It's not enough to be a murderer, you gotta send your senator random death threats that, from context, I don't think Bart really plans on following through with. I do sincerely think it's just for shits and giggles. It was genuinely funny and actually got some really solid laughs out of me. I've giggled at the odd line in an Aaron Beauregard book before, but 100% Match had me laughing at multiple points. It was actually really funny. I think the difference here, first, is that this author seems to be intentionally crafting an extreme horror comedy. He is making an effort to be funny. I think Aaron Beauregard tries to slip funny moments into his books, and on a few occasions he's definitely succeeded in getting a chuckle or two out of me, like I said. But Patrick C. Harrison III has crafted a story here that is clearly meant to be both horrifying and absurdly funny. And I would argue that he succeeded very well at this. The horror itself wasn't bad. There's definitely a sense of tension because Bart is 100% a psychopath, and you know he's dangerous to the people around him, but he does actually seem like he wants to find a mate and theoretically isn't hunting down a woman for the purposes of hurting her. There's some tension because you might figure that's what the story is building towards, that he's going to meet up with Sarah and end up doing something terrible to her the way he did Wendy and Deborah. But I don't know, I kind of got the vibe that there was going to be some sort of twist, and I was vindicated in the end. I mentioned this before, but there's, a lot of the usual extreme horror reliance on certain bodily excretions. Really not a whole lot of blood or gore until the very end, actually. We don't get graphic descriptions of Bart murdering anyone, just brief, casual references to the fact that he has. It's only at the end of the story, when Sarah's giving him the business, that we get some fairly graphic details. I think that this being a short story definitely made a difference in that respect. Comparing this to Aaron Beauregard's works, or Dead Inside by Chandler Morrison, I feel like this little pocket nasty kind of recognized that it only had so much time to tell the story, and couldn't necessarily waste it on multi-page scenes of blood and gore and God knows what else. The author mentions in the acknowledgments at the beginning that this was originally supposed to be part of an anthology, and so it would seem that he kept himself constrained to a certain word count. I can't say whether or not it served the story. Having never read any of this author's other works, I don't know if he's naturally this funny in everything he writes, or if this is an exception to the rule. But overall, I was impressed at the balance between storytelling, graphic details, typical to extreme horror, and the humor. I really felt like the choice to make Sarah a murderer at the end provided a great punchline to the story. Bart is such a casually evil psychopath, and though he's definitely interesting and entertaining as a character, it was beautiful karmic justice to see him get exactly what he deserved at the end. Solid ending to the book. Well, yeah, that's about it. I don't know that I can say much more about the book without reading pieces of it out. 100% Match might be one of the better written extreme horror stories I've read, mostly because it balances the extreme horror with humor and actual storytelling. I'll probably check out more of Patrick C. Harrison III's stuff to see if it's as interesting as this one. Alright, well, that's it for now. Thank you for watching, and have a great night.